Hey, I'm Ian and Kat will be back next time. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to talk about our top 5 mountain bike tools you should have in your arsenal. Our first tool is something that I'm sure most of us have somewhere lying around the house, or you probably already bought just to get your bike set up. That would be a quality set of Allen keys or hex keys. I went with some Park Tools because I know this is something I'm going to use for hopefully my entire life. And there are several options out there, but what I really like about this one is that it kind of has these rounded ball tips, and what that allows you to do is kind of reach in at different angles. If you can't kind of directly reach a certain bolt or somewhere on your bike that's a little bit harder of an angle to get to, this is pretty key for that. And then it kind of has your more industrial, higher leverage, kind of teed grip here so that you're able to get a little more wrench and power down wherever you need to on your bike. Maybe our next tool, most used thing, right up there with those Allen keys, is going to be a good quality pump. And the reason I picked this guy out, a couple reasons. A, this guy's got a slightly bigger chamber in it. So I've got a design here, and what this kind of gives you the ability to do is hopefully inflate tubeless tire setup. So if that's something you're interested in getting into, I would highly recommend the tubeless setup. It just helps you with those little flats that could occur, lets you get a little bit lower pressure, but mounting those guys can be a little bit of a trouble. I think wheels and tires have come a long way in their interface, but being able to pump them up that first time and seat that tire can be pretty tough. I know some people will go down to their local gas station and maybe use a pump out there, or some people have their own air compressors at home, and that's great if you've got that. If you don't, investing in slightly larger or a more mountain bike specific pump is definitely an ideal situation to go for. I know I started out with a very quality, cheapo little guy. I think I bought this when I first started biking for a whole 15 or 20 bucks at like TJ Maxx. It's worked great, still works, no problems. But it definitely is not gonna cut it for pumping up bigger, wider tires, and definitely not for seating them. So a quality pump that's gonna last forever in your shop and that can kind of set those tires, that's the key. Okay, coming in behind those hex keys and a quality pump that I use to check my pressure every time is going to start getting into maintenance. And so one of the things I purchased after I realized how important your chain is, it's probably the most moving thing on your bike, and it can get pretty grubby pretty quick. This is again a Park tool, but there's several different options out there, and just the idea is that it's able to clean in those nooks and crannies of your chain. Every gunky ride you go on, or you're slinging a little mud or dust around, stuff starts getting in that chain and it can really wear out your drivetrain. And so if you want to save money in the long run and keep your bike running smooth, I'd highly advise you get something to clean that up with. It doesn't have to be one of these. I know plenty of people start with a rag, and that's where I started, but it can't really get down in there. And this has kind of bristles and a foam bit, and it allows you to set some degreaser down in there to really get deep in that chain, make sure all the grit's out so you're not wearing through your chain or your cassette or your chain ring too quick. So I use this guy pretty dang regularly on all the bikes to keep those things working smooth. I'd prefer to do a little bit of maintenance regularly than spend hundreds of dollars replacing drivetrains over and over. So that would be my next maintenance tool. Up next, and I know this is going to run very similar to those hex keys, but what this is a torque wrench. There are quite a few varieties of options here. I've got a Tecton, and all it does is allow you to set how hard you're going to torque a bolt down on your bike. Now, that might seem like ridiculous. It took me a while to get to the point where I thought this was worthwhile. But what really happened is I got some carbon components, a handlebar, and it came with very specific Newton meters or foot-pound references. Oftentimes bike companies or components will print that, which is pretty awesome on those parts or bolts. But if you're just using your hand to wrench something down, that's great to get things started, to move bolts pretty quick, twist them really fast, so you're not necessarily dealing with this wrench all the time. But when it comes to special parts, this is key. What it does is keep you from destroying very expensive things, right? A carbon handlebar, if you make that upgrade, can be great. It can totally change your riding style, get your weight lower, but if you go wrenching down with just a generic hex key, you might put it in a point where it binds, and the last thing you want to do is snap a handlebar on the trail or break a very expensive component. So once you start getting into mountain biking, or you know you have any carbon bits there that you're going to deal with, this guy is going to be what you need to use. This one is adjustable. You kind of set the torque setting and it clicks once you've reached that. There's a couple different options out there that'll tell you kind of how it bends and you watch a needle move. It's kind of up to you, but having one of these for those quality parts is key. With that, of course, you need a bit set. Right, our last home bike mechanic thing, and this has been a game changer for me, but it's getting a bike stand. There's quite a bit of work you can actually do at home without needing one of these, but once you start getting wheels off of here, or you want to take apart things, it really makes a difference in what you're able to do and keep you from damaging things, right? You finally invested in that bike. The last thing you want to do is set it down and it falls over or scrapes up your forks or messes with your rear chainstays. Who knows? Let's avoid those problems, and this guy's been awesome. I went with this bike hand, and the reason being is being in a confined space, this guy collapses and folds and shrinks up quite a bit, and so that's allowed it to be tucked away in a corner and just broken out when I need it. Of course, they make mountable versions of these things, so if you've got that home workshop and you're really building up, I can definitely see investing in one that's more permanent and mounted. But this one does allow me to kind of lift and move this bike to get in different positions at eye level, or twist it around, or any of those options. And so I've really enjoyed getting to use this guy. It's been a big game changer for me. That being said, I'm gonna throw a bonus at you, and that would just be a rag. It's very easy to use paper towels. I totally get it. And your basic shop rag is pretty important, but what I think is worth the minor upgrade would be going to get a microfiber cloth. I picked some of these bad boys up, a pack of 5 for a couple dollars, just at Big Lots. But these are actually way more effective at cleaning. They don't leave as much fiber behind. And so this has been a quality investment. I mean, this is something people use on their fancy cars. I'll use it on my bike. I want to keep this thing as clean and efficient as possible. And so this is my one bonus for your home mechanic setup. If you like what you saw today, smash that subscribe button down below. We'll bring you more content, more updates, and let us know in the comments if there's anything you want to know, whether it's about our truck build, how we adventure, some more tools, or anything that you want to know about mountain biking. We'll bring it to you. We'll also drop some links down in the bottom for all the things that we talked about today if you want to get some for yourself. Thanks for tuning in.